Hello, this is your State Senator Len Suzio. I'm speaking to you right here in the center of Senate District 13 in Meriden. This is part of a continuing series of interviews with leaders in the community, business folks in the community, civic organizations, etc., to make you, the people of my district, aware of things that are going on and programs that are available for you. And today we have a very interesting interview set up with Interstate Glass Company. We're going to be interviewing with the DeVries, Kurt and Erin DeVries, and they are the owners of the company. And I'm interested in speaking to them as a small business team because they have participated in some of the economic development programs and are going through that process right now. So we're going to talk to the DeVries about their business and what Interstate Glass does do and what their experience has been as small business owners, and then talk in particular about some of the programs that they're taking advantage of to help their small business grow and thrive. And I hope that there are a number of small business owners or potential owners even watching this video today that might learn something from it and hear about programs that you may not be aware of that are intended to help you start up or grow your business. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Erin and Kurt, for agreeing to be interviewed today. It's a pleasure to have you. It's particularly meaningful to me because I grew up in a small business family. I told you some stories before we started recording this, and I've always wanted to be a help to small business owners, and I was a banker for years working with small business folks and helping them grow their business too. So now that I'm a state legislator, I want to do everything I can to help the small business community thrive and prosper because it's in everybody's interest. It's for the good of Connecticut and everybody in Connecticut that we have a vibrant, growing, thriving, active small business community. So thank you to begin with for agreeing to be interviewed today to talk about your experience. So let's talk about Interstate Glass first of all. I know that Kurt, you preceded Erin's coming onto the scene, and so why don't you talk about a little bit of the history of the company, and then we could talk about how Erin became involved. So tell us a little bit about the history.
I bought it back in 1986, and until present, but it's been in existence maybe 80 years in Meriden.
So a long history.
Yeah, it's been here for pretty much forever. It's been a good business. We do storefronts, shower doors, mirrors, anything glass related except for cars, no windshields. But it's pretty much it. It's been a staple in Meriden, I think, as long as anybody can remember.
And Kurt, are you pretty much restricted to the Meriden area as far as the work you do, or what geographies do you cover? What's your market per se? We
go all over, from Stonington to Enfield to you name it in Connecticut, and we go to Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, as far as you can go, pretty much. But wherever the work is, and it's really no limit in the state anyway. Going anywhere.
So it truly is interstate glass, though, and you're not restricted to just Connecticut. You're going outside of Connecticut, and you do a lot of. I presume it's mostly commercial work, but do you do residential work too, or what?
A lot of residential, sure. Everything from tabletops to picture frames, you name it. Anything that's glass. Probably residential, I think, makes up. I wouldn't doubt if it's like 60-40.
That's what I was going to say, about 60-40.
Yeah, we actually do more residential than commercial.
That's interesting.
We have a lot of walk-ins too.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Now that's interesting because here, you're down in Hanover Street in Meriden, and you don't think of a lot of walk-in traffic coming by here. But I've driven by here I've lived in Meriden for the last 36 years, and I've probably gone by here, I don't know how many thousands of times. And I remember, a lot of businesses that have come and gone, but you've stayed here. I mean, this is really a testimony to your tenacity, I guess you could say, right?
Absolutely. Things break in Meriden, apparently. So we stay busy.
That's good for your business.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, you're a small business owner for all these years, and again, I grew up in a small business family, and I was a banker for small business, and I know there's a lot of ups and downs in business, and the first 5 years, they say, are the most difficult. If you can get through the first 5, you're likely to survive. And you've obviously been around a lot longer than that, but I'm certain you've had good times and bad times.
I don't remember the first 5 years now. It's been a couple. But no, it's seriously been up and down. The economy really has played havoc with our business. So it depends how building goes, and and people are spending money. But yeah, we've had some good years and some really, really, really bad years.
Now, tell us a bit. You brought Erin into the business, and I guess you liked her so much you married her, apparently.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about the personal side of things, too?
Well, we brought her into the business.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, but she has gone above and beyond our expectations. She actually, we've done much better with her on board than that. She's awesome with the advertising aspect, from wrapping our trucks to getting us connected on all the different types of technology, Facebook and all the web type applications.
Marketing and
but,
branding.
Yeah, so.
Bringing on the new logo,
Yeah.
signage. all
So
that stuff.
no, she's definitely she's taken over.
Literally.
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, she's a 51% owner,
That's
I
right,
understand
yeah.
now,
She's
right?
a
So it's a
50%,
woman-owned business.
That's
yeah.
right,
It's
yeah.
exciting. It's
Yeah.
part of the succession plan.
Yeah.
And how long have you been involved now, Erin?
A couple years now. But it's been longer than that because I've seen it all at the home base too.
Yeah.
So now it's really nice to see the other side of it.
Right. So now you're technically you're partners, but Erin owns the majority of the business, so you're a quote female-owned business. Has that helped you in any way, Erin, when you go to talk to people in economic development or source of finance or what have you? Or
I think eventually it will. I'm just at the starting process of doing the WBE. So fill out the application. I'm working with Juliet downtown, and hopefully we'll see it through. It's a process.
I saw some of your handiwork on the trucks that are in the garage right now because it was your idea that Kurt was telling me in terms of creating the logo and putting the images on the side of the trucks, which I think is a fabulous idea. I mean, you drive around everywhere you go now. Your trucks promote what you're doing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Now, we're sitting here in a historic building. I noticed, in fact, as we walked in the front door, there's a little plaque that says National Historic Landmark. Tell us a little bit about the building you're in. And you were renting for years, I know, but so you recently acquired it. So tell us a little bit about the building we're in, what its history is, and how you wound up buying the building.
Well, the original firehouse. Well, you saw it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
well,
on the DMV.
the history of the building. This building, as far as I know, since I was a kid, I knew it was a motor vehicle department. Of course, it was a firehouse,
Right.
in its history. It was also a travel agency, and up until recently, an art studio type place. We're hoping to make it a beautiful showroom for our business. Not sure how we're going to incorporate the buildings together, but it's a beautiful building. We want to restore it. We want to get it back to in good shape. It's got a few issues, but we're hoping to get it back in prime condition in the next year or two.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe this goes back to 1895. I think it's the oldest firehouse in Meriden, and it's got that tower basically.
The more than I know, at this point, it's been a very short time. We just purchased it, so we're not quite sure of all the history of it yet. But it's got the firehouse, the tower with the hoses still hanging.
Wow,
They're still hanging over.
Now wait a minute, do you have the pole to go sliding down the pole?
Right
Right there.
So we got to try that. I'm gonna come back. Have you tried it? No,
No,
come on,
I
tell the
haven't.
truth.
That's where we're gonna have our office.
Yeah,
On top of it.
Could have a wild office party. So, again, Connecticut is hurting right now economically, and I've always said that the restoration of Connecticut's economic vitality is really strongly tied to the small business community, and you're a good example of that. Most people don't realize it, but when people think of employment, they think the big companies, United Technologies and Sikorsky Aircraft. But more than half the people in Connecticut are employed by small business owners like yourself, people who employ fewer than 100 people. So what works for you, hopefully will work for other small business owners. So I'd like to just discuss for a few minutes. I know that you're looking into and participating in certain economic development programs, and you're working with, for example, Julia Brodelsky. Why don't you share with the audience a little bit about what your experience has been, Erin? What programs you're going into, whom you've spoken with about that, and what you're looking to get out of those programs.
Well, with Juliet, she's told me a little bit about the matching funding program. So working with an architect to design signs for the outside and possibly doing some repainting. So it's a funding program where they match it. So if we come up with 10 grand, they'll fund the other 10 grand. Also same with the roofing, looking to get that redone possibly through that same grant. And CPACE, which is financial assistance to help make the building have green energy.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when you say they're going to match you and you use the term grant, is it a loan or a grant, or is it a loan that becomes a grant, or can you explain a little bit more about how that works?
I think it's just grant funding.
Okay.
So we would pay the initial 10,000 and then they match it.
Right.
So it's a grant.
So it's
But there are loans out there that we
Right.
can go for as well with certain terms that work better for small business owners.
So that's good because it kind of augments the equity you're putting into the property and the equity you're putting into the business. One of the problems that happens with a lot of businesses is they get overwhelmed with debt and then they can't afford to pay back the loan. So to the extent you can put equity in or get grants that are like equity, that's a big help.
Huge.
And I know there's something they call the micro loan program and things like that. These are not, you're not looking at multi-million-dollar loans. You're looking at loans at $10,000, $20,000 that help out. So you've talked to Julia Berdowski at the Economic Development Office here in Meriden. And
Shelley.
And Shelley.
Kohler.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where does she work?
It's SBDC.
Small Business Development Corporation,
Yeah.
the SBDC, right? We'll put on the screen some contact information for the viewers so that if there's a small business owner listening, they'll know the people to contact. They might even contact you and just say, "Hey, tell me more about your experience." Hopefully, you won't object to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're in the middle of this right now, though, Erin. I understand, right? You're
Yes.
kind of going through the process. How's it been so far?
Easy, a little bit time consuming,
Yeah.
but it's a matter of getting all of your information, gathering everything, and just following it step by step. They have a whole outline that I follow and put together a binder of information, and then that'll get sent over, and the decision is made from there to see if we qualify for everything.
Okay, so let's say you start your application today. I don't know when you started yours, but is it one of those things that might take a few weeks for you to get the information, put the package together, and then hand it off? And would you hand it off to Juliet, or would you hand it off to?
I would go right to Juliet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're in the middle of that right now, right?
Correct.
So when do you expect to have your package completed and handed over?
Well, I know that the matching program, that's going to kick off in the springtime.
Okay.
So I can hand everything in now, and that way I'll be ahead of the game.
Okay. And what kind of information did they ask you for?
All of your banking background.
Right.
They want to know your stability, and it's just really just checks and balances, I guess.
Yeah. So are they asking you for like a few years worth of financial statements or something like that?
Yeah.
Did they require you to get like a certified statement, or what kind of quality of statements were they willing to accept?
There was a letter that I had to get from the state to show that we were up on our taxes.
Mhm.
That was really it.
Okay. So you're showing that you're current on your taxes. You're showing, I'm certain they're checking out your credit, obviously, and your credit score and your credit record. You submitted to them some annual financial statements going back, 2 or 3 years or
Yes.
something like that. Did they ask you to do anything like cash flow forecasting or projections of any sort?
It was either that or our tax returns,
Okay.
and then also the history of the company.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand that because when you're going to spend money on something, the first question a banker's going to ask you is, what are you spending it on? And the second question is going to be, how do you pay it back? Can you afford to do what you're doing? So in this case, the good thing is if it's a grant, they're not expecting you to pay it back, but they don't want to give you a grant and then see you've got a business 3 days after you give it. So they want to see some kind of assurance that you got a reasonable opportunity that you're going to continue on for years, hopefully, after they give you the grant. And have you found the people helpful, or are they just bureaucrats and throw stuff at you and say, "Oh, go fill it
very
out"?
helpful. I can either pick up the phone or email them, or they said just stop by downtown.
Mhm. So it's worked out pretty well so far.
It really
Well,
has.
that's good. So you've got, I just want to make sure too, it sounds to me like you've got applications in, or you're working on applications for a couple of different things, right?
I
Or-
am, yeah.
So just to be clear for our audience, what's the first thing and what's the second thing you're asking for? Just to,
Well, there's a few.
Okay.
So it's really the matching program would be the first one.
Yeah.
The CPACE would be the second one.
Which is the the environmental thing or the energy?
Right. Well, it helps
yeah.
with the energy.
Right,
yeah.
energy efficiency, right?
Right, because it's
Yeah.
an old building. Lots of air
Okay.
flowing through it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And there's other opportunities on there. Like if you go to their website.
Whose website?
Meriden.
Okay, Meriden Economic Development.
Yeah.
In
Because
City
we're in
Hall?
because we're in the enterprise zone,
Mhm.
there's just lots of different opportunities.
Oh,
So you
I'm glad
kind of
you brought
can,
that up.
yeah, you can take a peek at that and just see what like matches,
Mm-hmm.
what's best for you,
Right.
your business.
Yeah, and I'm very glad you brought that up because Meriden does have what are called enterprise zones. They're mostly located in this downtown area where we are, the transportation-oriented district and a few of the census tracts here. And the beauty to an enterprise zone is, and Kurt and I were talking about this actually before the recording began, is there are certain potential tax incentives.
Absolutely.
And you definitely, if you haven't looked into that, you should look into it. You can get some,
Tax abatement.
you get some tax relief and tax abatement for a period of time. I don't myself remember what exactly the qualifications are. You've got to obviously be located in the zone, and I assume if you're expanding and doing something that shows that you're growing in the zone, that would be sufficient. But it's definitely, so there's not only loan money available and not only grant money available, there's tax relief available as well.
Yeah.
So, and you could take advantage of all that. And again, it's just as simple as relocating down here anywhere within the enterprise zone location. If people are not sure where the enterprise zone is, I know there's a map that shows it, and they could call Juliet Brodelsky again too, and she can share with them what the parameters are for that, for the qualifying in the enterprise zone. So how do you I know you had a background in like schools, public schools and administration, and here you are, you're not only a partner, you're married to this crazy entrepreneur who's, how do you like it so far?
No, it's awesome. It's worked really well. We're good partners. So it's been fun.
I found out in my experience as a small business owner, there's moments of sheer joy and excitement, and there's other of sheer terror. You can go alternating back and forth depending on how good things are at a given time. Yep. The important thing is to just stick to it, and stick through it, because every business will have its ups and downs, and you just got to understand that and have enough faith in yourselves and your idea and what you're doing to make it happen.
We're both really hard workers.
Yeah.
We put a little pressure on each other sometimes,
Yeah.
But.
Oh,
We
all
don't
right.
stop.
Who's the one that works the hardest? I'm going to start a fight now. Oh, look at that. Okay.
I'm more physical. She's just nonstop from the moment she wakes up till she goes
I
to
dream
sleep.
about numbers
talks,
and bids
works,
and
and-
proposals
yeah, it's
and plans.
nonstop. I want her to shut it off.
He's good with that. He's able to shut it off.
I can shut it
See,
off.
I can't do that. You
And I
and
just
I are
keep
alike.
going, I
It's
keep
like,
going.
you just keep going. And
You go crazy. I just shut it off.
I tell you a funny, quick story. I came home from a big meeting at the Capitol once a couple of years ago. It was like 2 or 3 a.m. So I'm getting into the bed and I'm trying to sneak in without my wife, she wakes up and she looks at me and she says, "What time is it?" And I said, "It's going on 3." She said, 3 a.m.? I said, "Yes." She said, "Don't you ever turn it off?" So it sounds like you and I are kind of similar personalities.
I get excited. I'm invested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I want the company to do well.
being an entrepreneur is an exciting thing. It's a scary thing at times too, like we were saying. I was being honest. I mean, there could be moments where it's just thrilling and really rewarding, and you're saying, "Wow, everything's working out." And there's other moments you say, "Oh my gosh, what did I get into?" But it's an experience that you have to have kind of a personality for too. If you're looking for security and kind of just going along, don't go into business on your own. But if you got that entrepreneurial spirit that, I think it's a spirit that made America great. I really do. The pioneers that came here were entrepreneurs of a sort, basically. They're starting totally from scratch, no guarantees, no big government programs for anything. You had to make it on your own, and you're doing the same thing as entrepreneurs.
I know nothing else. I mean, since I was 21, so I know
Yeah.
I know no other. I mean, I have a couple of short careers, but This is it.
And that's great. And so, maybe the last thing I would say to the audience today is that I hope that some of you that are thinking about forming a business, or you have got one going and you want to grow it, don't give up. If you run into problems, just keep fighting through it all. Be persistent, believe in yourself, and in the long run, I can speak from my personal experience, and it sounds to me like the DeVries can say the same thing, that you can make it happen, but you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to realize nothing's going to be handed to you on a silver platter, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So again, I'm very elated to have the opportunity to talk to you. I like to brag about the people that make things happen in my district. And being entrepreneurs, you're making things happen. You're not watching things happen. You're employing people, which is good. You're helping our economy grow and prosper. And I think you're the kind of people that Connecticut needs to get back on its feet again. And I want to thank you for spending a few moments today to share your experience and share what you're doing with respect to economic development and the programs that are here in the state of Connecticut. And I'm hoping a few more entrepreneurs might follow your trail. And thank you very much, Kurt.
Thank you.
And Erin, thank you very much too.
Very much.
This is your State Senator Len Suzio saying, I hope you enjoyed today's program, and the folks I've introduced you to, I would encourage you to look into the programs that exist, like the DeVries have taken advantage of, to grow and prosper their business. And I hope a few of you will start your own business up after listening to this and seeing that the DeVries have done it too. Again, this is your State Senator Len Suzio saying thank you for joining us for today's program. It's an honor to serve you as your State Senator.